An old saying of seafarers says, "There is no law below 40 degrees of latitude. There is no God below 50. Cape Horn is located at 56 degrees south latitude. The Drake Strait is even lower. Their reputation is such that it is difficult to come up with a worse one. Today you will find out where the most powerful ocean current is located, why were sailors honored to wear an earring in their left ear, and how could a private company resist entire states. Cape Horn is located on the island of the same name, the southernmost point of the Tierra del Fuego archipelago. Antarctica is more than 800 kilometers away from it. It is often mistakenly called the southern point of the continental massif of America itself, but this is not quite true. Such a point is actually Cape Froward, and Cape Horn is still on the island. It is for such points on the planet that the phrase "at the edge of the world" is suitable. Two oceans meet here, the Atlantic and the Pacific. Due to this, a unique, but very insidious climate for a navigator is created. The weather on the island is mostly windy and cloudy, there is almost no sun, and the number of rainy days per year is more than 280. The air temperature ranges from -2 to +14 degrees. The average wind strength is 43 meters per second. To make it clearer, even the average wind strength on the island belongs to the first category of hurricane on the Saffiro-Simpson scale. Therefore, many people call the climate in the Cape Horn area the worst on Earth. But in such harsh places at one time people lived on a permanent basis. Since ancient times, the area between Cape Horn and the Beagle Strait has been the patrimony of the Yogin Indian tribe. His last purebred representative, Christina Calderon, died in February 2022, taking with her a unique language. The Indians traveled on pirogues, hunted sea animals, and engaged in fishing. Gradually, the people began to disappear and the colonialists played the main role in this. Now there are just over 1,000 mestizos who have completely lost the Yogin culture and language. Today there is a base of the Chilean Navy on Horn Island. There is a lighthouse, a chapel, residential and utility rooms. The base is usually looked after by an officer who is accompanied by a family. Such a business trip, as a rule, takes a year and the family spends most of the time in isolation. For sailors, this is a great opportunity to spend time with their relatives. And a trip to the end of the world with the whole family is remembered for a lifetime. The inhabitants of the island live in a house where there is everything for a comfortable existence, including the internet. The officer maintains a lighthouse and a weather station, puts marks in foreign passports, communicates with passing ships. He is also responsible for a small museum where travelers leave their flags. The second important attraction of the island after the museum is the monument in the form of an albatross. It was established in 1992 and is dedicated to all the sailors who died in the area. The first navigators to conquer Cape Horn were two Dutchmen, Jacob Lammer and Williams Halton. It happened in 1616. The Cape was named after the town of Horn in Holland, whose residents sponsored the voyage. The Cape is washed by the waters of Drake Strait. This is an intercontinental strait, the width of which is more than 1,000 kilometers. This is the widest of the proper named straits on Earth. It is also the deepest, up to 5,500 meters. The strait was named at the dawn of the 20th century during the Imperial Trans-Arctic Expedition. The Anglo-Irish Arctic explorer Ernest Henry Shackleton decided to give him the name of the legendary navigator Francis Drake. Previously, it was believed that he passed through the strait in 1578, but modern sources deny this information. As in the case of Cape Horn, the honor of the first passage most likely belongs to the members of the expedition from Halton. Drake Strait has earned notoriety for several reasons at once. Firstly, storms often occur here, and they are considered one of the most powerful on the planet. Waves up to 15 meters high, a very real phenomenon. Secondly, a lot of problems are created by the Antarctic Circular Current, the most powerful in the ocean and the only one on Earth that passes through all the meridians. This stream does not encounter obstacles in the form of continents or large islands on its way and develops a maximum speed of 14.5 kilometers per hour in the Drake Strait. If a ship goes from the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean, then it has to be much harder because of the oncoming current and wind. Thirdly, from April to November, the southern part of the strait is covered with ice, so icebergs and ice floes are often found in summer. But why was it necessary to take the risk and go around Cape Horn, if at that time Magellan had already opened a safer strait? The fact is that Europeans were very interested in the Maluku Islands, which were called the Spice Pantry, and spices were highly valued at that time. Yes, they could be reached through the Strait of Magellan and through the Cape of Good Hope. That's just the first route was considered a Spanish monopoly, and the second Portuguese. Later, since 1602, these routes were monopolized by the Dutch Ostend Company, the most influential private company of that time. In 1669, they had 40 warships, 150 commercial vessels, 50,000 employees, and an army of 10,000 soldiers. The company has been involved in political disputes along with states. So in 1641, she independently, without the help of the Dutch state, knocked out her competitors, the Portuguese, from present-day Indonesia. In general, it turned out that there was only one way for independent traders without serious military support who wanted to get from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific or vice versa. Therefore, desperate navigators walked along the Drake Strait, rounding Cape Horn, despite serious chances to say goodbye to life. Sailing around Cape Horn reached its peak in the period from 1850 to 1914. It was the dawn of maritime trade. Australian goods were going to England, clippers with tea were rushing to Europe from India, gold miners from the east coast of the USA were crossing to California. It is this time that is marked by the greatest number of victims. In total, at least 800 ships met their doom in the Cape Horn area and more than 10,000 sailors lost their lives. The life of sailors was greatly simplified only in 1914. Then the strait lost its former significance, because the construction of one of the largest and most complex projects of mankind, the Panama Canal, connecting the Gulf of Panama of the Pacific Ocean with the Caribbean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean, was completed. Thanks to the Panama Canal, it was no longer necessary to circumnavigate South America, and the route was shortened by 1,000 kilometers, which had an invaluable impact on the development of shipping and the economy around the world. Nowadays, circumnavigating Cape Horn and passing through the Drake Strait is an attraction for tourists who are looking for strong emotions and serious challenges for travelers who love extreme seas. The current expeditionary vessels are equipped with stabilizers, thanks to which it does not swing very much when passing through the strait. Despite modern technology, this route remains dangerous. For example, in 2010, in the middle of the Drake Strait, the Clelly 2 liner got into a severe storm and the engine failed. Fortunately, the liner was saved, and it reached the Argentine port of Olaya within human losses. Nevertheless, this and similar stories prove that we can consider ourselves the king of nature as much as we like, but in some cases it is still capable of causing significant trouble. Apart from sightseeing cruise liners, their shift is the only one that creates a semblance of regular traffic around Cape Horn in our time. Such voyages take place as part of competitions or round-the-world trips. For a yachtsman, overcoming the Drake Strait is commensurate with the conquest of Mount Everest by climbers. It was not for nothing that it was previously believed that sailors who rounded Cape Horn at least once received the right to put an earring in the form of a ring in their left ear, which was a special sign of bravery. Despite the fact that the Drake Strait is harsh to people, it has managed to become a home for many animals. Travelers who decide to cross it have every chance to meet a cross-shaped dolphin and a humpback whale, a giant petrel and a wandering albatross. And on Horn Island there are penguins, seals, and sea lions. In 2005, the Cabo de Hornas National Park, which includes Horn Island, was declared a UNESCO Natural Heritage of Mankind. That's all, friends. Share videos, write comments, and be sure to put likes if you liked it. See you in the next video.